You don't hatch from an egg. You don't claw out of anything. One moment you don't exist, and the next you do, assembled from raw amino acids inside a neuron buried so deep in a human brain that no surgeon has ever seen one in real time without killing the patient in the process. You are dopamine. You have no eyes, no limbs, no defenses. You are 17 atoms arranged into a molecule the size of nothing, floating in the cytoplasm of a neuron tucked inside the ventral tegmental area, a region so ancient it predates language, art, love, and every single reason humans think they're special. Cockroaches have this region. Lizards have this region. You were important before humans had the intelligence to ruin you. Right now, you're sitting in a little bubble called a vesicle, dark, cramped, waiting. There are 10,000 of you in here. Then something happens upstairs. The human sees a cheeseburger. The electrical signal rips through the neuron like lightning through a wire. The vesicle ruptures. You and 9,999 identical copies of yourself get launched into a gap between two neurons called the synaptic cleft, about 20 nanometers wide. You just got fired out of a cannon into a hallway the size of a crack in a sidewalk. This gap is your entire life. Where you work, where you suffer, and where you will eventually be destroyed. You have approximately 1/1000th of a second to do your job. You drift across the cleft. On the other side, a receptor is waiting, a protein shaped exactly like you. You bind to it. You click in, and somewhere far above in the prefrontal cortex, a human thinks this is going to be great and feels a surge of what they call motivation, not pleasure. They always get this wrong. You don't cause pleasure. You cause the wanting of pleasure. You are the craving, not the reward, the itch, not the scratch. The human will spend the rest of their life confusing these two things, and it will destroy them. And you had absolutely no say in the matter. Your binding lasts about 1 millisecond. Then the receptor kicks you off. A transporter protein grabs you and vacuums you back into the original neuron. This is called reuptake. If you're lucky, you get recycled. If you're unlucky, an enzyme called MAO finds you first and tears you apart at the molecular level. Reducing your 17 atoms to waste, the brain quietly flushes away. You were assembled from scratch, fired across a gap, did your job in less time than it takes light to cross a room, and got either recycled like a paper cup or dissolved into nothing. Every time, forever. Skip forward 6 months. The human has started a new habit. Every evening, they sit on the couch and open a social media app and start scrolling. Every notification, every new image, every little red number fires you across that gap. Fire, bind, absorb. Fire, bind, absorb. Hundreds of times an hour. At first, the receptor responds normally, but the brain is adaptive, which is a word scientists use when they mean the brain will always find a way to make things worse. The receiving neuron starts pulling receptors off its surface. Why keep 100 if you're getting hammered constantly? It scales back to 60, then 45, then 30. You're firing just as often, but fewer receptors are catching you. The human feels less. They need more stimulation to feel the same wanting they used to feel from almost nothing. They decide the app isn't exciting enough and download 4 more. Skip forward 2 years. The baseline is ruin. Receptor density is so low that ordinary life, a conversation with a friend, a good meal, sunlight through a window, now registers as almost nothing. The human sits at dinner with someone they love and feels flat. Reaches for their phone, fires you 200 times in 10 minutes, feels slightly less flat. Returns to dinner, flat again. You have not changed. You are still 17 atoms doing the same job in the same millisecond. The problem is the hardware around you has been remodeled to need you in quantities that only constant artificial stimulation can achieve. The human has started calling themselves someone who is just not easily excited. They do not know you exist. Skip forward to a different human entirely. This one is 61 years old. They've noticed their left hand trembling. Their movements have slowed. Getting out of a chair takes a conscious command now, where before it happened automatically. The scan shows that neurons in the substantia nigra, a neighboring region to where you were born, are dying. Not from drugs, not from overstimulation. Just dying for reasons that medicine in 2026 still cannot fully explain or prevent. As those neurons die, the dopamine signals coordinating movement drop away. Muscles freeze mid-motion. The tremor worsens. The human is given L-dopa, which the brain converts into you. More of you flooding in to replace the signal dying neurons can no longer produce. The tremor eases. Movement returns. But the remaining neurons can't handle the flood. They fire wildly. The human starts experiencing impulse control problems they've never had before. Compulsive gambling, shopping binges, urges that feel from the inside exactly like gut-level certainty, because you are misfiring through circuits you were never meant to flood. The drug keeping them mobile is dissolving the personality they spent 6 decades building. The doctor adjusts the dose. The tremor returns. They adjust again. The impulses come back. The line between treating the disease and creating a new one moves constantly, and you are the molecule on the razor's edge of all of it, just doing what you were built to do, completely indifferent to the chaos you represent in a body that desperately needed you to keep working correctly. Right now, inside 8 billion humans, trillions of copies of you are firing every second. Some of you are firing in a child tasting something sweet for the first time. Some of you are being blocked by antidepressants because without intervention, the signal has become so quiet the human on the other end is struggling to feel any reason to continue. Some of you are sitting in dying neurons, unable to fire, trapped in the dark as the cell around you collapses. Nobody holds a funeral. Nobody notices the specific neuron that went quiet on a Wednesday afternoon. You, this tiny molecule that humans blame for their worst decisions and credit for their best moments, are not glamorous. Almost every popular explanation of you is wrong in at least 3 ways. You don't make people happy. You make them want, and want, and want. In a world engineered to give you more things to fire at than any brain was ever designed to handle, you are a Stone Age mechanism running in a simulation it was never built for, getting exploited by everything it encounters, degrading the very hardware it depends on, and being blamed for the results. You did your job perfectly every single time. 1 millisecond. Bind. Release. Reuptake. Over and over in the dark.